forward and what that's all about. I'm going to talk a little about the program itself, how that's going to kind of play out, what our role is going to be, what your responsibility is going to be in making this happen, and then we're going to do a little run workout.
Yeah,
okay?
Doing is good.
Yeah. So let's have Dave start, and he's going to kind of give you an idea of the event that we chose for this race, why it's a good event for all of you, you know, and hopefully make it sound enticing.
And I'm excited for, I'll call it a season, for a handful of reasons. One, I always love meeting new folks, particularly new athletes who have taken on a challenge. Triathlon is, of course, my area, and sort of my athletic background. I just really have experienced some great things through triathlon. One of them is having met Teri about 25 years ago. About 25 years ago?
So you guys were 5?
I know, huh? I was a punk little kid. I think I was maybe even in high school, and I remember Teri at some races in Sacramento at the time, etc. And so she was kind of part of this group of sort of star professional athletes, you know, idols I had growing up, and then I got to, of course, get to know her a little bit better as time went on.
We used to race against each other.
We used to race against each other. And I have to say, there's a certain distance at which Teri has gone completely undefeated against me. it's like you know, like when you drink with people in college, you know you can hold your own for like maybe 1 or 2 drinks, and then after that they just take off. Well, Teri was my athletic equivalent to a drinking buddy in that sense. Anything about 2 hours and under, I think I got her. Pretty much every time. Everything about 2 hours.
You still got me in the half distance.
Maybe once or twice. But after a certain point, there was just absolutely no beating her. And I wasn't too shabby either. So. But one of the great things is that I've you know, have this now adult relationship with Teri, and of course this professional relationship where we're both triathlon coaches. And so for me, you know, I'm sort of living the dream with athletes and people just, you know, taking on these new challenges of triathlon, but also having the opportunity to do this with Teri. I kind of think, like, gosh, what kind of a dream team. This is really terrific.
I have to interject really quick here. Only because they're all women here except Dave. So I'm going to throw down just really slightly. Actually, I will say this, though. So one of the things that happened, Dave and I sort of have this ongoing joke about it, is like, whenever we do Ironman triathlon against each other, in Hawaii, Ironman is usually the one, Dave would be sort of like, he'd be on the run, he'd be like waiting for me to catch him. Because, you know, it was like, he would definitely swim and bike faster than me. But I will say this, though. I think what I saw in triathlon a lot from women was the ability to be self-aware and pace themselves and persevere. So for me, you know, I mean, he was obviously younger and much more talented than me genetically, but I just had this ability to take care of myself, pace myself, and then it was like the tortoise and the hare kind of thing. So then sure enough, you know, and you know, Dave was one of many young guys that I fell by the wayside, you know, because of the endurance. But I think I feel good about that. But I also feel like after coaching for a lot of years, women are a little bit more reasonable about this. So, and I think personally that's a really an enormous strength. You know, again, coming back to my friend yesterday, she wasn't very fast swimming across the bay, but she was smart and she was organized and she was diligent and she persevered. And she never gave up, and that's really, I think, a lot of what we can bring to the table. So go ahead, my friend.
All right. Well, so when we were approached to help with the triathlon module for the challenge, we looked over a lot of different races, and you know, as coaches, but also as athletes, sort of came up with a short list of I'll call them triathlon experiences, because that's really what triathlons are, particularly for your first few triathlons. They're not so much races, but their experiences. You know, there's a lot to be said about, you know, getting organized, training, traveling to a race with a friend and or family. You've got your gear, you've got the night before dinner, all these kinds of things. And it's really an experience, with the race being, you know, kind of this denouement, right? This final act or movement of the experience. And, you know, the litmus test for us is like, you know, the absolute perfect scenario, and this is coming from two people who've traveled literally to the farthest, craziest places on the planet to do these things. You know, our A+ experience is like, can we sleep in our own bed? Yeah. Well, given that it's November, there's really not a lot of opportunity to sleep in our own bed. But we can do, there's a handful of races that would allow us to at least stay really close to home. So we didn't have to get on a plane or do this multi-day travel experience. You know, we got to ship a bike or something like that. And there's this great little race in Morrow Bay in November, Morrow Bay Triathlon. And neither of us have done it, but we've spent plenty of time down there. And we know a little something about the race organizers, and we feel it's going to be a really solid event. And we've had communication with race organizer, this really great gal, Teri, and she's organizing for us a group registration rate, etc. And I really look forward to going down there sort of en masse as a group and having the triathlon experience with you. And that's, as I say, not just the morning of the race and the race itself, but it's really the day before and kind of getting your stuff together and how do I put my number on and all these little things. And it is really California dreaming is what it is. Morrow Bay, San Luis Obispo area is a lot like Santa Cruz. It just really doesn't get much better. So the climate that time of year can be just spectacular. At worst, it's a teeny bit cool in the morning.
Kind of similar to here.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even a teeny bit warmer that time of year. We have a wetsuit swim, so the swim is not going to be in a pool. It's not going to be a cozy jacuzzi or a lake. It's actually going to be in the ocean, but it's a protected bay, protected area. And you're going to be in there with a lot of other athletes. So, a lot of folks have these sort of grand visions of a triathlon swim, of them being out in the bay for 22 hours by themselves, but you have plenty of company. As I say, probably for me, one of the things I think about, because just, again, based on my own experiences, it's not necessarily the terrain of the course, which for this race, by the way, is really pretty gentle, pretty straightforward, but it's the climate. It's just Goldilocks. It's not too hot, it's not too cold.
Unless we get an odd storm.
Yeah, but yeah. There's always the yeah buts, right? But you can get yeah buts about your 401k, and you can get yeah buts about this and that. So there's always a yeah but. But we're here for you, and Teri and I, as I say, complement each other really well. In that she probably has a lot more race experience, and she has this tremendous background at all levels, including sports psychology, race psychology, which I still get a lot from her. I mean, I often quote her, and don't claim it as my own, of course. So that's the goal. So really, we start today to get you physically prepared, to get you mentally prepared, to paint a picture of what the triathlon experience is going to be like. And as I say, maybe if I'm going to plant the seed this morning, the most important thing I can say is the triathlon experience, again, is not just swim, bike, run that morning in November. The triathlon experience is, enjoying the training, having in your mind while you train, why you're doing it. And of course, it goes beyond the race itself. Camaraderie is a really big deal. But, it's really, it's a foil or a way of really discovering things about yourself athletically and personally, and your friendships and being out in nature. It's just a wonderful, tool or mechanism, for this. This is why we did it. I don't think Teri and I ever really raced. I mean, Teri made money. She had to pay rent, and she did that through racing. But at the end of the day, I think when we look back, we did it because of these moments of sharing with friends and being out in nature, etc. So. And we're gonna, our coaching approach is really all about that. If you wanted to just prepare for that morning in November, there's plenty of magazines and books you can pick up and just get your Excel spreadsheet out and plug in. But what we hope to add is something to make it a little bit more of a rich experience.
What are the distances on the race?
The sprint distances. Oh, you're gonna kill me. The sprint distance is a half-mile swim. It's 12 and a half. It was in kilometers. I can't do the math quite in my head. It's about 12 and a half mile bike ride, and then approximately a 3.1 mile run, which is, there's a continuum of distances in triathlon. The one that people most often talk about, of course, are these really extreme races. But truth be told, the best distances are the sprint distance, about a half-mile swim, about a 10 to 15 mile bike ride is usually what they do, and about a 3-mile run. So this is the sprint distance triathlon. They do offer that weekend an international distance triathlon, which is now kind of coined, or it's been coined the Olympic distance, because they do this distance in the Olympics. And it's twice the distance, so it's just short of a mile swim, it's just short of 25-mile bike ride, and a 10K run, so a 6-mile run. So, you know, there might be some folks in the group that want to tackle that one, and we encourage you to consider it. Let there be no mistake, conquering any length triathlon is a huge victory and accomplishment regardless of the length. There's this really, it's almost a strange cultural thing about how more is better, and you know, you somehow get this, I don't know, what do you call it? You know, these extreme distances are, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're attractive on a lot of different levels for different reasons, but short races, this is a huge accomplishment. It really is. I mean, to do a short race well is fantastically difficult, and this really monumental challenge on a certain level. And at the same time, it's very doable.
Yeah.
It's very doable for just about everybody. Teri and I have had the privilege of actually coaching a lot of folks, tons of folks, for their very first triathlon. And it's just such a high to take someone. I remember one gal, this was years ago, for a team in training, she couldn't do a continuous lap without stopping. She had just finished treatment for hepatitis C. If you know anything about hepatitis, that's the bad one. Okay. She had been a 25-year smoker, so she could not slowly jog all the way around this track. Within about 14 months, she actually finished just under the wire, the cutoff, an Ironman length triathlon.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really remarkable. And I'm not even going to say the accomplishment was this athletic accomplishment, this physical accomplishment. Hers was really, honestly, a spiritual, self-overcoming. She not only, I mean, she physically changed herself. We can do that. You know, we're like the exercise physiologist. You know, we know how to train folks. But the metamorphosis that she experienced, and we hope that everyone has a little bit of this, has a moment of this, of self-overcoming, of self-discovery, of self-becoming, you know, through the process of training, is really what was remarkable to me. So, and you can have that whether it's a half Ironman, whether it's a sprint distance, whether it's a full Ironman. You know, so that's
Yeah.
hopefully we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discovery. Very exciting. Has anyone here done a triathlon? Okay, great.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I figured there'd be a handful of folks in the room, and so the rest of you are probably a little nervous, eh?
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's all good.
Can we be nervous even if we have done one?
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you kidding?
Wait, who's done one?
Yeah.
Raise your hands high.
I've
Yeah.
done one leg.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting. Very exciting. Now I'm going to ask the veterans in the group then. How many folks who've done a triathlon, when you finished your first one, you kind of felt a little bit different in some way? And yeah, they're shaking their heads. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to give you guys these guys are going to be like, I'm going to give you guys a little money back guarantee here. that crossing that finish line in whatever way that looks for you, the whole texture of your view of yourself is going to change up a little bit in a really incredible way, regardless of how it plays out, really. So we're excited, and we're kind of just reiterating what Dave said. We're excited to be a part of that. So what I want to do is talk about kind of the program itself and how this is going to work, and then we're going to get you guys moving around a little bit. So I'm not doing the whole introduction thing because I'm assuming that some of you guys already know me and listened to me babble a little bit last weekend. But so here's what we're going to do. Basically, in this program, there's a couple different components to it. One component is that once a week on Sunday, we'll be meeting as a group, and you'll be being coached by either Dave or I or both of us, depending on the day. Every week, that changes up a little bit. And I'm going to go over the schedule just kind of verbally. You don't have to write it down or anything. So just really quick, tell us so that you guys know, so that we know, how are they getting they have it's on your app that they can sign up, and it tells them everything, locations and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things I want to take note of on that is that every week, not every week, but the location that we're meeting changes up a relatively fair amount. So just take note of that, because if you're someone who every Sunday I'm going to the SoCal track, it's not necessarily gonna happen. So before you go on Sunday, make sure you check your schedule and see where you're supposed to be. So I'm gonna go through that really quickly, just because I'll also describe what we're gonna be doing. Yeah.
When you say Sunday, you mean 8:30?
Yes. Yeah, 8:30 on Sundays. That's our meet day. Pretty much from now until the race. We'll be meeting on 8th. So today's today. And then the other thing that's going to happen is that you will also have the option to come to a workout or workouts that either Dave or I are coaching at Simpkins Swim Center for your swimming portion. Now, you don't have to come to a workout that Dave and I are coaching, unless you want to. If you don't come to a workout, well, two things. If you do come to a workout that Dave and I are coaching, come up and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm with Santa Cruz Challenge, and then that'll give us a chance to meet you personally and also prompt us then to do a little work with you during that workout on your stroke and things like that. But what you'll do at Simpkins when you show up for one of those workouts is you will be joining the rest of the adult fitness group that's there to do a swim workout. We'll still put you in a lane that accommodates your fitness level and your ability level. And that may mean that you're in a lane by yourself or you're in a lane with other people depending on your experience with swimming. It doesn't really matter. So you don't have to be, at some high level of swimming in order to join this group. You just kind of show up and we'll put you in the appropriate spot and work with you accordingly. If you come to one of the other workouts that one of the other coaches are coaching at Simpkins Swim Center, go up and introduce yourself and say, I'm training for a triathlon. This is sort of where I am with my swimming. Will you help me with my stroke? So I encourage you to do that. Some people will kind of skulk in, and they have their bathing suit on, and they feel a little bit weird standing almost naked on the deck. But that's okay. Everybody's in the same boat. Don't worry about it. Just go up and introduce yourself to the coach and tell them what you're up to so that they're aware.
And you can tell them that you're being coached by us.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And we'll tell the other coaches what's going on.
They're all great.
Yeah.
So everybody's great. So those swim workouts then, go ahead and show up when it works for your schedule. Okay? And then the other sessions we'll be doing with Dave and I. And the way that looks, once a week the sessions will be doing, because then the rest of the time you'll be working on your own, and I'll talk about that in a sec. So next week, you're going to be meeting Dave at the entrance to Nicene Mark for a coached bike workout. And what you'll do is bring your bicycle, and Dave will help you. If you're not familiar with the bike or need to get that set up or the seat height, or you'll probably spend a little time doing that, and then you'll go for a ride from that area. You won't ride into Nicene, you'll be riding on the roads from that area. It's a really nice spot in the county to ride from because there's a lot of access to the country and things like that. Yeah.
So we're needing road bikes, right? Not mountain
Yeah, whatever you got.
If
You got a cross bike, you got a cruiser bike, whatever works. I mean,
the only thing that's really mandatory, and Teri and I are both like extreme safety sticklers.
Yeah.
Helmet.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, show up if you forgot your helmet. Actually, please don't put us in that position. Go back and get it.
Well, no,
Or
I'll throw down. If you don't show up with a helmet, I won't let you ride with the group.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
And really, that's the thing. This can be a very safe activity.
Yeah. So, but it is important for you to have a helmet. So you need a helmet and a bicycle. If you have to borrow a bike, whatever you need to make the bike thing happen, and then we'll work with you on the bike that you have. And again, for 12 miles, whatever you got will be fine. Mountain bike, road bike. Obviously, so optimally, a road bike is the way to go. But if you don't have one, don't worry about it. There's people that do these races that have everything. So it's all good.
If you need a little help, show up early. I will be there early. I will have tools. I grew up working in a bike shop. I currently work part-time in a bike shop. So if you need a little extra help with your bike, just show up 15, 20 minutes early.
Yeah.
If you show up at 8:29 and say, hey, I need this, and this, it's going to be a little tough. Yeah.
Great. Good. All right, cool. So that's next Sunday. The following Sunday, we'll be meeting back here again for a run workout with me. And then week 4, we are going to be meeting at the Spokesman Bikes. And the spokesman, somebody who works at the Spokesman is going to be giving us a clinic on bike maintenance and flat tire changing and things like that. that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to learn how to take my, So I'm going to tell you a really quick story because I think it's kind of funny still after all these years. So one of the ways I learned how to, when I started doing triathlon, I had a touring bike, and I thought I need to know how to fix my bike, and do things with my bike. So the way that I learned how to do this is going to tell you something about me. This is really funny. I took my whole bike apart. I don't know if you ever knew this. And I put it back together. I thought if I do that, I will have more knowledge of my bicycle. How many people would do that? It's really odd, right? I still kind of go like, wow, what was I thinking? So the backstory also is like, so then afterwards the handlebars felt kind of weird. So then I took it to a shop, and the guy says, somebody put the headset on upside down. But anyway, so we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be taking our bikes apart. But they're going to give you guys kind of a basic. Here's the thing about the bike thing, and this is maybe a little bad cop thing going on here as well, but I think on a really basic level, it's important that you know how to change a flat tire, okay? Again, another quick story. I've been at an aid station in Davenport during a triathlon we had in the area, and this young girl rolls in, and she had a flat tire. She's in a half Ironman, and she doesn't know how to change her flat tire. And I say that with disdain because I'm like, wow, really? I mean, I think it's our responsibility as cyclists to know how to change a flat. So I told her, as a volunteer at the aid station, I'll change your flat for you if you promise me that as soon as this race is over, you're going to go learn how to change it. I know, Dave, love it. I'm like that. I love it. So anyway, she did. She emailed me later and told me, I wouldn't thank you for, making me do this. But so we're gonna learn some of these things. So you guys, here's what that's about. You're gonna feel more empowered on your bicycle. Yeah, you're like, rather than go out and ride a bike and the whole time you're out there going, what's going to happen if I get a flat or something goes wrong? Oh my God, the world's going to come to an end. You're going to feel like I can make this happen. I can deal with this. I know how to do it. So that's that clinic that we're going to do. And the folks at Spokesman are going to help us out as a sponsor of Santa Cruz Challenge. And then week 5.
Do we bring our bikes or no?
Actually, we'll have to ask the guy at Spokesman. Because I'm not sure how they will.
It's a little much.
How they'll decide to.
It's a little much. Usually you come and they'll have a couple bikes.
Yeah.
They'll have like a mountain bike and then a road bike, and you can bring your iPhone or your device.
Okay.
If you want to, which I think is brilliant. By the way, I've as a parent now of 2 young kids, that phone is basically my brain.
Yeah.
I can take a picture of everything. I just can't remember.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And we might actually just record the whole session anyways and put it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. It's a lot to show up with 22 bikes.
But then the following Sunday, Nicene Marks run workout with Dave. And then the following Sunday, we'll meet at the entrance to Nicene Marks again for a coached bike workout with me. So if you're not sure where we're going to meet, just ask. But basically, if we're meeting at the entrance to Nicene Marks, we're meeting right near the railroad tracks, kind of where everybody parks right on the road there, okay? And then we got a run coached workout. We got that one. And then we got, let's see, meeting here the week before the race. We'll meet here with both Dave and I as kind of our last workout. We'll do a little brick workout that night, bike run. So we'll be talking about the transition, how to set up your transition, do a little practice with transitioning, make sure that you guys feel like you're organized and you feel like you're going into the race kind of knowing how to execute when you get there. There's a lot of what that. So one of our goals is so that you can go to the event, you show up there, and you basically feel like you're on top of it. Those of you who haven't done the race, you don't know how it's going to play out, but what you do know is like, I know how to set up my transition, I've done my training, I know how to swim, bike, and run, and that's all you need. That's it. And then you're going to go out and make it happen, yeah.
Is there going to be any discussion at all about nutrition and how to help your body feel strong that day?
Yeah, so all of the sort of ancillary topics that come up around the sport will be kind of inserted into our workouts. But I would encourage you to do this because there's so much, really. I mean, I've written a book on triathlon, and one of the things I had to do when I read the book, first of all, I asked the publisher, what kind of a book on triathlon do you want? Because, are you kidding? I mean, the book could be like that big, and it's kind of insane. So, you know, for Dave and I know a lot. We're a couple of encyclopedias walking around. So I encourage you guys to ask questions about whatever topics you're interested in knowing about. And so we can even talk about that today. Since we're all here and Dave and I are both here, really briefly, what I would like to cover after our run is nutrition for training and racing. So, you know, the whole nutrition thing, you guys are getting a lot of information on that in Santa Cruz Challenge, and which is awesome. Like, really absorb it and I think take responsibility for integrating it into your own life. What we can talk about today is the nuts and bolts of when I go on a ride or a run or I'm in a race, what do I need to be ingesting to make sure I get to the finish line and feel good at the end? So we can talk a little bit about that today. And then all the other topics that come up, you know, which are going to be gear and clothing and pacing and, you know, all this kind of things. All that stuff will be coming up as we sort of go along.
And don't be surprised if part of what you hear coming from me and Teri is a lot of simply telling you what not to do.
Yeah.
Because I have to say that, you know, they're really equally important, the correct decision, so that the idea is you choose to do X, Y, and Z, is actually, logically speaking, equally as important as not doing A, B, and C. You could do 99 things to script perfectly, as described, as prescribed, however you want to say it. But if you make one mistake, you know, like have the wrong, you know, mix of, you know, something to drink on your bike, all of a sudden you've eaten all these correct things for 3 or 4 months, and then you have this one special drink that morning that you thought would be the silver bullet, and your tummy goes sour. You think, oh gosh, I did 99 things correctly, but I did this one thing incorrectly. So you get to benefit from the fact that Teri and I have actually done the 99 things incorrectly. We were absolute guinea pigs, both of us, for literally 30 years. I mean, since I was a teenager and since, you know, Teri was close to a teenager. He was just about a teenager.
Yeah, amazing.
So we've made all the mistakes for you. So often what we'll talk about is, yes, proper best practices are X, Y, and Z, and note well, do not do this.
So I got to tell you another quick story. I mean, like, again, you know, I'm like really old and go back to the dinosaur ages of sport. So like, you know, like Dave said, like I came from an era in triathlon when there wasn't such a thing as goo and power bars, and I'm not joking. Like I think there was one sports drink out called Recharge.
Gluconate, though.
Gluconate, yeah, there was Gluconate. So there were a couple of it, really, besides Gatorade, we didn't have, so basically, for my first Ironman in Hawaii, which was 1986, I think, 1985 or 86, what I did was, I suppose intuitively this sounds like it was a potentially good option, but I thought, well, you know, wouldn't it be better for me to digest food? Because I'm just eating regular food, bagels and bananas and, like, you know, stuff like that. That's what I train with, and I figured that's what I would have on the run or out on the race. So I decided that if I took all these foods and blended them in a blender, right? I know, is this funny? That maybe somehow, like, that would be able to be digested better. So I literally blended this drink, stuck it on my water bottle cage on my bike, and powered it down like the first 20 or 30 miles on the bike. Well, you know, that went okay until I got to the run and spent a good portion of the marathon on the side of in the lava fields naked because I had a one-piece tri-suit on and I had really severe intestinal problems. And to go to the bathroom, I had to peel the whole thing off. Now, back in those days, I didn't have porta potties to duck into. So I'm literally squatting on the side of the lava fields, you know, like...
That was you?
Yeah, exactly. But you know, the cool thing about that was sort of my introduction to, like, once the gun goes off, I don't really care, like, you know, like, as far as, you know, trying to cover myself up or any of that. Modesty went out the window, and I actually have enjoyed that for the rest of my life. But yeah, so I was the one with projectile diarrhea on the side of I still ran about a 4-hour marathon though, so that's actually pretty good. So even though I, but anyway, that was a big mistake. But the problem is we didn't have all this stuff, so we had to kind of figure it out. You guys now have the luxury of, like, going to Trader Joe's and they have a whole aisle of bars and gels and all this. I'm like, wow, are you kidding? So we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like and what that needs to look like for.
Now the challenge is sussing through the
overwhelm
exactly. of information.
Which is really, and again, coming back to my friend swimming, you know, as an endurance athlete, you are responsible for learning what works in your body and what doesn't. And my friend Kim went through this process, and you know, I was somebody who helped introduce a bunch of products to her because she has a sensitive stomach. So she's out there in the middle of Monterey Bay vomiting and things like that. But she had figured out over the years, what can I take that's going to work? What can I take that isn't going to work? And then it's this process of elimination kind of thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's do a little something. How about we do? So in sort of track etiquette. And this is kind of, you know, one of those things. The warm up often goes, at least part of the warm up, counterclockwise.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those things. So when you do this, you really look like a pro. Right? So it's kind of fun. So what we do, and often in the warm up on a track, you know, the real people, the real trackies. What they don't do is they don't run on the inside lane during the warm-up. So let's do this. Let's do 2 full laps just to kind of get the blood going, get the body temperature up a little bit. And we're actually going to go counterclockwise, more on the outside, and then we're going to stop. We're going to do a couple basic range of motion things, do a very short sort of primer on on a little bit of run mechanics, etc., and then we'll get you to do a little bit of a workout. You know.
But really quick, so that's perfect. One of the things I want to say on the front end is I'm sure there's some folks here who haven't been running, right? So yeah, exactly. So if you haven't been running, here's what I want you to do today. And you can start this with our warm-up, and then we'll do a little bit more running after we do our warm-up, and then we'll do a little stretching, and what Dave mentioned, and then we'll do a little bit more running. But what I want you guys to do today is I want you to do this. We're going to start out, and whether we're going the correct direction around the track, which is actually this way. And so what Dave's talking about is we're going to be going this way on our warm-up, and then we'll run the correct direction during the warm-up. But let's have you guys jog 200 down to about where that guy is. Let's call it the black pole, the black light pole on the other side there. And then I'm going to have you walk 100 yards to there, to right over to there, and then jog another 200, which will put you to right down at the end there, and then walk 100, and then jog the rest. So jog a 200. So it's a 400-yard track, I think. Meters? 400 meters?
It's the same 440 yards or 400 meters.
Yeah, so a curve is about 100, a straightaway is about 100. So jog a 200, walk 100, jog a 200. Well, now here's the thing. I want you to do that even if you're jogging going, I feel good, I feel good, I feel good. Just do that anyway. Okay. Because it's going to allow your body to really get you. Running is hard on your body. Even if you've been doing it forever like me, it's really hard. So you want to kind of, you know, what you're doing today is you're telling your body, I'm going to run. I'm going to cause you to run. And so you want to kind of wake things up a little bit. So let's be nice to ourselves.
We'll get warm.
Yeah, so just 2 laps, super easy. Yep. If you've been running, go ahead and jog. Just a warm-up is really slow. Breathing, chatting, fun, easy, no big deal.
Teri, question.
Yeah.